Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the second installment of Tillster Tidbits. We have a very special guest today. We've got Ron, Ram Jayaraman, who's our VP of Software Engineering. Ram, it is fantastic to have you back, and I'm excited to have a discussion with you today about digital ordering platforms. So great to
Yep.
have you on.
Same here, Jacob. Thank you.
Perfect. We are going to waste no time. So today we are talking about selecting digital ordering platforms. We get a lot of questions from both prospects and existing customers about, what type of digital ordering platform not only does Tillster offer, but most importantly, what is best suited for my brand and for my franchisees. So we're going to get into the importance, obviously, of having a digital ordering platform, the benefits that the platform brings to brands, and then also offer up some factors for restaurant leaders and executives and decision makers about what they should consider when it comes to evaluating and potentially selecting a partner for your digital ordering platform. So, Ram, most folks kind of know this, but it's always great to bring it up. First of all, what is a digital ordering platform? And then I would love to just hear about some of the key benefits that come to mind around having a digital ordering platform for your restaurant brand.
Let's dive right in. Sorry. So basically, a digital ordering platform, in my view, essentially is a homogeneous suite of products or solutions that come together that produce an omni-channel ordering experience for the customer, right? Which means that you can now take your orders not just in the store, but you can now start providing your orders through online/web, mobile, be it kiosk, call center, table service, and now we have also started seeing
No
basically
worries.
WhatsApp based ordering, right?
Oh, sure.
So you can even order stuff through WhatsApp. So basically, it's a suite of products that basically come together that provide an omni-channel ordering experience from a customer standpoint, right? And they can place their order from a channel of their convenience, and also receive their order in the mode that they would like to, right? Be it delivery, be it dine in, take out, curbside. Just again, the pandemic has shown us how curbside has become super important. That's all from a customer standpoint, and on the other side, from a retailer perspective, you see, again, it enables them additional, ordering channels, thereby increasing their brand awareness, increasing loyalty. They have centralized order management, and also provides, all sorts of operational business performance visibility across channel, right? So cross channel analytics and stuff like that. So you basically get a better view of your customer. So that's sort of in a nutshell, what a digital ordering platform essentially is, right? It provides you additional channels for ordering, additional convenience modes of receiving your order from a customer standpoint, easy payments, and then on the retailer side, it just gives them a lot of centralized management. And in general, from a reseller or a retailer standpoint, it allows their brand to be more prominent with their customers, right? It's essentially you're taking it away, just not from a store, but you're also increasing your revenue now by additional ordering channels.
That's all very well said, and it's always just good to reiterate those because
Yeah.
again, there's still a lot of brands that are entering the marketplace, especially in that kind of high growth phase. So it's always important as to when we'll get into, I'm sure, discussions around the homegrown as well as providers out there, and they're very different, right? They offer a lot of different capabilities and benefits. So. Um, I know we were talking about this just before we got on, and I think it's a question that needs to be discussed more amongst restaurant leaders and partners and providers like ourselves. Is the question around what is it that maybe restaurant brands might not understand, might not have been exposed to around digital ordering platforms that would lead them to select a platform that is perhaps not best suited for them in the long term, right? There, and the reason we want to bring that up is because obviously brands have been through a whirlwind with the advent of COVID, and it was because of that, they were forced into, I mean, they had to adopt some type of platform in order to keep up with the demand, keep up with the changes in consumer behavior and how they were buying. So I just wanted to throw that out there to see what your thoughts might be.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So again, I think we talked about it last time as well. With with COVID or the pandemic, right? A lot of things have changed. So we have talked about a connected slash contactless world, right? So a lot of the retailers probably still are just getting a grasp of that, or just have gotten into that bandwagon, right? And a lot of them started off with just saying, "Hey, I just want to get an online presence somehow." Right. So at that point in time, a lot of them just chose probably solutions that were easy to get on, like for example, third party marketplaces. Pretty easy to get on there and start offering your getting an additional ordering channel thereby, right? But what they don't understand, or what they did not understand at that point, is how about their brand awareness, right? So that's just by being a small part in a big pond, right? You're a small fish in a big pond at that point, if you're going into a marketplace,
Hmm.
and you don't have your own brand and brand apps and stuff like that, right? So you are still, you're not trying to cap the market at that point, right? So you're not trying to take advantage of getting your brand out there, getting more customers, getting them to be loyal to you, right? And because one of the things that we have often found is, once you have a branded app and a branded solution, customers more often tend to stick with you for longer, right? But if you're in a marketplace, then you're essentially competing with somebody else right next to you. You don't have your own space, essentially. That's one big thing that I've seen, personally, where again, everybody is in a rush to get there, and so they took the shortcut paths. They have gone with solutions that don't provide a centralized order management, right? So you just get an online solution, or a web, you get a web presence, but you don't have a centralized platform that can manage the orders between that platform and your store. A lot of people have tried to bridge that by putting additional devices in the store, like tablets and stuff like that, right? But again, that's not a true, a cohesive experience, both for the customer as well as for in-store operations, right? So they have actually
Hmm.
put on a lot more pressure on their in-store operations as well.
Yep.
So again, these are some very small things, right? Again, we last time we touched upon CDP, customer data platforms, and stuff like that. How important that is. Retailers don't always understand that concept, that how important it is for you to understand your customer across channels.
Right.
So again, depending on the solutions that either they have already have in place, or they have bought over the last couple of years, they may now start feeling that, again, I personally experienced that with a few of them, right? They've started feeling that these systems don't sort of interact with each other. They just are siloed systems, right?
Yep.
It's not a digital ordering platform. When we say a platform essentially is a cohesive ecosystem,
Right.
where systems can talk to each other, right? Your online orders can be visible on the POS. Your online orders can be visible on a kiosk in store. Your past orders are visible. You have loyalty programs that are embedded across these channels.
Yep.
So we start they start sort of missing on these aspects.
Yeah. Well, and I want to hit on what you brought up earlier with the omni-channel experience, because I think that's a huge piece to this, where we we're starting to have more than ever conversations with brands about, I've done the digital, right? Like, I am digital, but now
Right.
it's like you were just saying, where I want to have it personalized to the brand. I want to have the brand. I want my guests to experience and feel, my brand as a whole. And not only that, it no matter where my guests go, all the data, the information and that experience that goes with it, the personalization, which we'll touch on in a minute here, that needs to be platform agnostic, right?
Absolutely.
It needs to be able, from, if I'm a mobile first user and I want to go into, let's say, a lot of brands obviously have been taking on and adopting more kiosks as a result of the labor shortage, and want to improve operations, that my guests can go in there and seamlessly leverage and use and redeem their loyalty that
Yep.
they acquire, right? So I'm sure you've had plenty of conversations like that now more than
Absolutely.
ever. So, and one last piece I want to touch on before we get into the factors, as it relates to considering choosing a digital ordering platform, is kind of the role of the POS. I know you were just touching on it. Does the type of POS that a brand might have or is considering adopting, how does that influence the selection of a digital ordering platform?
Yeah, I mean the POS does play a very significant role, right? Again, POSs, range all the way from homegrown proprietary POSs to industry standard POSs, right? And then there are also POSs that are completely cloud native only, right? They're only available on the cloud. They so you need to have constant internet connection from the store to the POS. So again, a lot of it depends on your business criteria, business metrics, and things like that as well, right? What do you want to influence? If you want to have a complete homogeneous experience, right? So it's completely, when an order is placed on your website, all the way does the order flow into the POS? Absolutely, that is the probably the most desired state, right? So again, that depends on the capability of your POS as well. A lot of POSs, at least in the modern age, right? The modern POSs all have a very good web API support, right? So if they're REST APIs, SOAP APIs, depending on what they've implemented, a lot of them have those capabilities. So if it's a modern POS, I think it's pretty much given that they are digital platform, ready. If there are older ones, legacy ones, or if there are homegrown proprietary ones, again, there's both an advantage of disadvantage of having proprietary POSs, right? If you have a proprietary POS, it actually gives you a benefit where you can start adding the required integration capabilities within that because you own it and you can drive the life of that POS. If it's a legacy POS, again, a lot of them, either are being driven out of business or they are all reinventing themselves, right? So most of the POSs, the legacy POSs, the big names of the industry, they all have, native cloud APIs now. So honestly speaking, it looks, from a POS standpoint, I think most of them are ready. If not, we especially at Tillster, right, we have dealt with some of those that were not ready. But then based on our inputs and our feedback, and they were proprietary POSs, they were able to adapt and they were able to build those additional missing pieces for us.
Hmm.
So I think the question, just to answer your question, it is probably, you know the POS does play a role,
Hmm.
um, but again, I think the none of them have issues that cannot be circumvented,
Yeah.
right? So they can all be worked around, and still provide a solid digital ordering experience.
Yeah. Well, that's great to hear. I just know we get it a lot, so it's just good to bring
Yeah,
up. So, all right, so let's get into kind of the meat of it a little bit here. So if I'm a brand, I'm looking to potentially either switch or adopt a new, brand new digital ordering platform for my brand. What is it that I should be considering? What are the criteria? And I know, we could have a laundry list of this that goes on and on forever, but we're trying, in this segment, going to try to bring out the core ones. Um, in your experience, what are some of those key factors, that those key criteria that brands should, at a very least, be asking providers and inquiring more about before they actually move forward with a decision? What are those things that they should be considering?
absolutely. I think, to me, as I initially alluded to, I think the biggest factor is branding, right? So can the platform be tailored to my restaurant's operations and branding, right? A lot of times we have found that there are platforms that are available out there that just say, come and get on our platform and you get a web presence, right? But that just means that it is more of a cookie cutter experience. So a lot of the brands, want their own experience, to be projected out to the customers, right? So that's because that's how they can sort of advertise their brand. So which means that the brands are not just influenced in your logos and colors and schemes, right? It's also your product workflows. How do you offer a sandwich, right? Is it you offer it as a sandwich, side, and a drink, or your experience is different? Maybe you do it sandwich, drink, and sides, or you do, a sandwich is the primary thing, and then you get something else as add-ons, or you want to put in upsells and cross sells, right? So how much of your branding and your experience can be sort of merged into the workflow, as well as, that also alludes to the point of how flexible the system is, right? The digital ordering platform that you're selecting, how flexible it is. So which means that, again, is it a cookie cutter experience, or can I modify? Can I have my own workflows? Can I have my own branding? Can I have my own loyalty on it? Can I have my own experience in it? Right? And then what kind of payment methods do I offer? So again, branding, flexibility, two major aspects. I think integrations is the next big item. Does it integrate well with the point of sale? Right? Again, there's a lot of platforms that are available out there that say, I can give you an online presence, but then what happens to the restaurant operations? They are given a tablet to again manage the orders originating from that source, right? Again, not a very seamless experience. So, if you are truly looking for a long-term solution, you need to look at a platform that sort of brings all of these together, right? So branding, it has to have flexibility, it has integrations like the POS, different types of payments, different types of loyalty integrations, delivery partners, aggregators, recommendation engines, right, for your upsells and cross sells and things like that. So you would like to have a platform. You may not use all of them right at the get go, but you need to look at a platform that can sort of support all of these capabilities, and then you can pick and choose a la carte as you like, right? So these are from a capability standpoint. Then the next big aspect, I think two aspects that a lot of people kind of miss is, is the platform and the infrastructure scalable, right? So I have I don't know, maybe 100,000 customers today, but my vision is to scale it to million, right? A million orders per day or 100,000 orders per day, whatever the metric, the KPI is. Can the platform's infrastructure scale accordingly? Right, that's a very important aspect, because a lot of times we have seen that when customers launch promotions, the systems come down, right? Because all of a sudden there is a surge in volume, and so does my infrastructure support that kind of volume and load? And then the last but not the least at all is security and compliance, right? Is my system PCI compliant? Is it ISO compliant? Is it GDPR compliant? Depending on where you are located. So again, these in my mind, these are these six big items. Branding, flexibility, integrations, and then I missed one that I wanted to talk about, which is CDP, right? The customer data platform.
Hmm.
Does your digital ordering platform have CDP at its core, right? Which means that you can easily capture your guests information, and then be able to transfer that over to all the channels and all the platforms, right? And use them there. So for example, um, if a customer is browsing a website, they have all the time in the world, right? So I probably understand this customer based on their needs. We can project recommendations and upsells and cross sells. Now if they're on their phone and maybe they're in a hurry, then they probably don't need to be prompted with so many different things. They can just go and order from their past order history. Or if they are in an in-store kiosk, they could do the same thing, right? So essentially you are taking that customer and you're making sure that the customer is recognized at every channel that you support. Right? So CDP being a big one, flexibility, we talked about it, infrastructure and scalability, and security and IT compliance. These six, big ticket items is what I think retailers need to consider before they choose a digital ordering platform, or at least these should be part of their RFP process.
Right. Yeah. And I- all of that is fantastic to hear. And, I don't mean to oversimplify it, but ours does a lot of that, right? I mean, it checks a lot of boxes. So, I know you're on that side, right? And a leader in our digital ordering platform. So, what, again, without oversimplifying, what kind of makes our platform different from a lot of other providers out there?
Yeah. So, again, these are those top six things that I just said. We sort of tick off almost all of, not almost every single one of them. Right. So right from branding to flexibility, right? So our platform is not, I mean, the back end of the platform sure is cookie cutter, right? The integrations should be cookie cutter. I don't think you need to customize the integrations necessarily, but the ordering experience is 100% customizable. We can integrate with pretty much all the POSs out in the market, right? Again, not every single one. There are proprietary ones out there as well, but a whole gamut of them, at least the top known ones. And then we have also done, for us to integrate with a new POS that is proprietary or that is legacy. We have historically proven that we have a platform where you build the integration once and then use it multiple times, right? Use it across your channels. So it's build once, use many type of philosophy is what we follow. Right. So from a branding standpoint, customization standpoint, configurability standpoint, we sort of check all those boxes. We have pretty deep integrations with payment providers, right? We have integrated with multiple loyalty solutions. We have our own loyalty platform as well, Tillster's own loyalty platform, couponing solutions. So obviously all these so ours is a very cohesive platform. So all the digital platforms or digital systems talk to each other in some fashion, right? We also have CDP at the center, right? So we have a CDP service that essentially all the channels consume from. From an infrastructure standpoint, from a scalability standpoint, again, we have made sure that over the last few years, we have redesigned, re-architected our platforms to be more microservices oriented, which means that we build smaller pieces, right? And these pieces are built for change, so we can easily swap components in and out. So that makes our solution pretty robust in that way, and especially from a scalability standpoint, right? Running as microservices, we run with a lot of stuff on our AWS cloud environment as serverless infrastructure, so we can scale infinitely essentially. And then from a security ID compliance, we are 100% compliant with every single compliance requirements that come along, right? For example, compliance are not just PCI compliance and IOSA compliance. You also have state laws, right? So for example, I think New York has you need to have sodium warnings displayed everywhere, right? So you need to show your sodium content and warn the customers. Calorie information, so essentially all those nutritional information and things like that. So we have services and systems that sort of account for that and flow across our ecosystem. So that's essentially, again, I think pretty much we check off all of everything that a brand should ideally be looking for.
Yeah.
Again, all this has been from our past experience, right? Our solid teams that we have with all the industry experience behind our back.
Right. Yeah, and again, we've touched on it a lot here, where it's the platform is meant to be built for the brand and able to be flexible and scalable for the brand, right? And it should be a pretty turnkey solution, to make changes as you go, right? To adapt as you need fit and in a timely manner. So again, all the items that you're saying is we're trying to simplify it for the brand, but elevate the experience for the guest, right?
Absolutely.
And that will drive more positive outcomes. So, Ram, I want to thank you for coming on again. We wanted to at least put some of the key factors that we feel are very important for restaurant brands to consider when they're evaluating their digital ordering platform. So I think we've done hopefully a good job at that today. And we're going to be coming out with another episode here very soon. So you guys make sure to stay tuned. But Ram, again, thank you for coming on. As always, we always love having you. We're probably going to keep having you on, and it's great to hear from you. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jacob. Thanks,
Great.
everyone. Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. We'll talk soon.